The distress beacon pierced through subspace like a needle through silk. Corporal Tessa Rain felt it in her bones before the ship's sensors even registered the signal. A primal scream for help that transcended language and species. Colony ship, Valkor's Pride. Sector 9, her AI companion chirped. Raider attack in progress. Estimated survivors minimal. Tessa's jaw tightened. Raiders, the scum of the galaxy, preying on refugee vessels fleeing the contested zones. She'd seen their handiwork before. Gutted ships drifting like hollow monuments to cruelty. ETA, 6 minutes, she muttered, strapping into her combat harness. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, checking her pulse rifle, her sidearm, the dozen other tools of her trade. 6 minutes. In 6 minutes, everyone aboard that ship could be dead. Her dropship screamed through the void. The Valkor's Pride was dying. Hull breaches bled atmosphere into space, and internal fires cast dancing shadows through shattered viewports. Tessa's boots hit the deck with a metallic clang, her helmet's HUD painting the carnage in cold analytical green. Bodies. Dozens of them. The Alpha, a proud leonine species with bronze fur and amber eyes, lay strewn across the corridors. The raiders had shown no mercy. A whimper. Tessa's head snapped toward the sound. Behind an overturned cargo crate, she found him. A young alpha cub no more than 7 standard years old by her estimation. His tawny fur was matted with soot and blood, not his own, she hoped. His wide amber eyes locked onto her, pupils dilated with terror. Easy, kid, Tessa whispered, her helmet's translator converting her words into the Alpha's rumbling dialect. I'm here to help. The cub, his collar identified him as Jor, son of clan leader Vekthar, trembled violently. Behind him, 2 younger cubs huddled together, their small bodies shaking. The raiders, Jor managed, his voice breaking. They said they're coming back. For us. For the young ones. Tessa's blood turned to ice. Raiders rarely left survivors unless they planned to sell them, and alpha cubs, with their exotic appearance and rarity in civilized space, would fetch a premium on the black market. How many? She asked, her voice steady despite the rage building in her chest. 8. Maybe 10. They left 2 to guard us while the others stripped the ship. Tessa did the math. 10 raiders against 1 human. Most species would call those suicidal odds. Most species hadn't met humanity yet. Listen to me, Jor, she said, kneeling to his eye level. I need you to take these cubs and hide in the secondary cargo bay. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me. Understand? But you're alone, Jor whispered. They'll kill you. Tessa's smile was hidden behind her helmet, but her eyes, visible through the faceplate, burned with something that made the young Alpha stop shivering. It wasn't confidence. It was certainty. Kid, she said softly, I'm human. Alone is when we're most dangerous. The raiders returned 20 minutes later, their grotesque forms a mishmash of species, outcasts and criminals bound by greed rather than honor. They laughed and jeered in their pigeon trade tongue, already counting their profits. The first one through the door never saw Tessa. Her blade, a monomolecular combat knife forged on Earth, sliced through his throat before he could scream. She moved like a shadow, her training and augmented reflexes turning her into something the galaxy had never quite prepared for. A human soldier with a purpose. The second raider managed to raise his weapon. Tessa's pulse rifle vaporized his hand, then his head. Human, one of them roared, finally recognizing the nightmare in their midst. It's a human! They scattered, but the corridors of the Valkor's Pride were tight, designed for the bulkier alpha physiology. For Tessa, they were a kill box. She hunted them methodically, one by one. Her rifle sang its lethal song, her knife drank deep, and her boots, those human boots the raiders would later whisper about in fear, carried her through smoke and fire like an avenging angel. The last raider tried to run. Tessa shot out his knees, then stood over him as he whimpered. You prey on children, she said, her voice devoid of emotion. My species has a saying, hell hath no fury. You should have run when you had the chance. The raider never got the chance to respond. When Jor finally emerged from the cargo bay, coaxed out by Tessa's gentle voice, he found her sitting against a bulkhead, her armor scorched and dented but intact. The raiders were gone. The ship was silent except for the hiss of failing life support. You killed them all, Jor breathed, his eyes wide with a mix of terror and awe. I did, Tessa confirmed, pulling off her helmet. Her face was young, far younger than the Alpha expected for a warrior of such ferocity. Sweat plastered her dark hair to her forehead, and a thin line of blood trickled from a cut above her eye. And I'd do it again. Jor approached slowly, the two younger cubs peeking out from behind him. Why, he asked. We're not your pack, not your clan. Why risk your life? Tessa looked at the young Alpha for a long moment, then smiled, a real smile, warm and genuine. Because you're kids, she said simply. And where I come from, we don't let kids face monsters alone. We become the monster's nightmare instead. Jor didn't fully understand the words, but he understood the sentiment. He stepped forward and pressed his small forehead against Tessa's armored shoulder, an Alpha gesture of deepest gratitude. As rescue ships arrived and the cubs were led to safety, Yor looked back one last time at the human soldier who had saved them. She stood silhouetted against the stars, a lone figure in battered armor. The raiders had believed the Alpha's cubs would run. They hadn't expected human boots to turn them around and march straight into hell itself. And in the cold depths of space, a new legend began, of Corporal Tessa Rain, and the day humanity reminded the galaxy why you should never, ever threaten their young or anyone else's.